Hey folks, so a new and possibly final trailer for the revival is dropped, and since y'all keep commenting that y'all want a video about it, I made a video about it. See, I am a squirrel of the people. Quick little thing here, let's all keep in mind that if there's things you like or if you're ecstatic about everything you see, that's cool. If you don't like some or all of what you see, that's cool too. People are allowed to hold contrary opinions to your own. It's okay. Hell, it's what makes the world worth living in. Diversity of thought, folks. It's not a bad thing. Also, I'm splitting this into positive takeaways followed by negative takeaways. Yes, there are both. Okay, so positives. Peggy was very on point. In fact, she was probably the best thing about the trailer for me. Hank's voice sounds better than it did in the last clip they released of them in the museum.
I don't know how to kick someone's ass over Zoom, but I'll figure it out.
Bill becoming a shut-in actually makes perfect sense. He probably got COVID, and after Hank and Peggy buggered off to Saudi, he became a shut-in and possibly developed agoraphobia. That, again, is very much in line with Bill's character. Hank not understanding that in a 5-star system, anything other than a 5 is considered the same as a 0, as well as Peggy's response that shows her ignorance is very on point for both characters.
If you ask me, 5s should be rare in this world.
We sure are. I do not want to be conceited, but I have been told my whole life I'm a 5.
Seriously, again, Hank sounds so much better. He sounds like Hank Hill, so yeah, I have to give the guys kudos on that. It looks like Bobby has gotten into beer brewing, and apparently Hank gets in on it too. That's not really surprising, seeing as he's retired and he's got nothing else really to do. It even shows him still getting up at the same time, which does seem odd because he's been living off of Saudi Arabian time for the last several years, so his body would be used to getting up at 5 a.m. Riyadh time, which would be 1 p.m. Central Time. That's the time zone for Texas. So yeah, that might be a little off, but him getting up is still very much in character. I also hope they explain why he and Peggy aren't doing what they planned, which was to spend their retirement traveling to every state in the Union except, of course, California.
We already have that figured out. We're gonna buy his and hers motorcycles and see America, excluding California. Freedom of the open road and such. All the maintenance a guy could ask for.
Collecting spoons from every state capital, meeting colorful characters like truck stop waitresses and corrupt local sheriffs.
We get our first looks at modern day versions of some characters. There's Ted Wasana's song inside of Chain Rabata. As I predicted, it looks like he's the money behind the operation. We see a decent bit of the restaurant, and it appears Bobby is possibly playing the Hank role of trying to clean up his boss's messes. Cleanliness is obviously not a big deal. We see that rat there after all. As well as a shot of Dale in full exterminator gear falling through the ceiling in the background. I've got my fingers crossed that he'll find Chuck Mangione living there because we need a return of Chuck. Speaking of Dale, we see him kidnapping Hank after it looks like Hank became a soccer referee. Keep in mind the guys have a long-standing hatred for soccer, and Boomhauer even belittles the sport in the trailer.
I cannot believe they're allowing it to happen openly in the streets.
Fake sport, man. You got to tackle something, man.
Soccer was invented by European ladies to keep them busy while their husbands did the cooking.
Why do you have to hate what you don't understand?
I don't hate you, Bobby.
I meant soccer.
Oh yeah, I hate soccer, yes.
So Dale thinking that Hank's been brainwashed or replaced with a pod person or robot or something along those lines, when in reality Hank probably just wants something to do all day, is very much in character for Dale. I do find the bulletin board in his basement interesting here. I'm not sure what he's got going on, but notice that Nancy is in the questionable category, and the hills are all labeled as a sleeper cell. I hate that Hank's head is covering up the trusted category. I'm interested to see who's in that. Maybe Dale thinks soccer is taking over, or it's being used to indoctrinate kids. Who knows where he goes with these things. Here's John Redcorn. Looks like he's spending some time with Joseph. Might be real, might be a dream. And yeah, his hairline has receded a bit. We get our first shot of Min while she, Peggy, and Nancy are doing their version of the guys drinking in the alley with wine instead of beer. And we get our first official look at Connie, who, according to an interview with her VA Lauren Tom, will be polyamorous in the revival. I mean, let's not forget about Min making a remark about a key party, so it shouldn't come as that much of a surprise.
The magazine says we each present an item of clothing, and the first one to call dibs gets it.
Oh, like a key party. Or so I've heard.
We see Connie a few times, once talking to Bobby in the restaurant and again outside laughing at what I'm guessing is a gift horse from Bobby. I wonder if she looked it in the mouth. By the way, that saying goes back to horse teeth and dowries. It appears Bobby is still a hit with the ladies. We see him making out with 2 different girls. Maybe he's poly too, you never know. And I'm guessing that he's smoking the wacky tobacco because here in the ashtray we see cigarette butts with clearly colored in filters, and yet this one right here has no filter. Yeah, that's what's affectionately known as a left-handed cigarette. Also, this right here.
Bobby wants to bring that new girl over for dinner.
The vegan? What the hell am I supposed to feed her?
Can't we just put some grass in a bowl?
That's well done. Peggy's mispronunciation, Hank's retort about grass in a bowl. That is good old-fashioned King of the Hill humor right there. We also see this blonde feller here a few times. I'm guessing his name is Connor Feliz. Feliz being Spanish for happy. Kinda wonder how Peggy's gonna pronounce that. Not quite sure what his connection is yet, but he's also at a get-together at the restaurant. And now to the negatives, and I want to go ahead and give a quick disclaimer here. I want this revival to do well and succeed. It benefits me for it to do well. It gives me more content to make and brings in new fans to the show who might possibly also become fans of the channel. I have a vested interest in the show doing well. I do not want it to fail. My last video on the revival had a lot of comments from people saying I was being negative because I wanted to fail. The truth is the exact opposite. I'm pointing out negatives because I want them fixed so that it can succeed. And don't worry, I am not delusional enough to think that Mike Judge or anyone else connected to the show has any idea who I am or have ever heard of this channel. That out of the way, negatives. First and foremost, Bobby's voice stands out as wrong. He's a grown man that sounds like an 11-year-old boy trying to sound like a 21-year-old man. It seriously reminds me of a kid trying to sound like his dad on the phone.
I'm your chef, Bobby Hill.
I am 100% on board with Pamela Adlon still doing his voice, but please, for the love of God, pitch the voice down. Do the opposite of what they do on South Park. Record her voice and then pitch it down so it sounds like a man's voice. This is honestly my biggest complaint. This is also not a knock on Pamela Adlon. She has and continues to do a great job. I really just wish that they would tweak it in post-production. I don't know if Dale's voice in the trailer is Johnny Hardwick or Toby Huss, but I'm willing to bet money that it's Toby Huss because it sounds more like Toby Huss than it does Dale.
I cannot believe they're allowing it to happen openly in the streets.
I'm being very open-minded on Dale's voicing because of the circumstances. It does sound different, but it's something that I can get used to. Peggy is pretty much all good, except for some reason, every time I look at her, I can't help but think of Mars Attacks. I think it's because her eyes seem a little too big and they rarely seem to blink. I don't know, to me it's just kind of off-putting. The animation is still not great, but something I noticed watching this trailer over and over is that it seems to be designed to be second screen. For those unaware, second screen refers to a background screen, like if you're on your phone but you've got something playing on the TV pretty much just for sound, then the TV is the second screen. I enjoyed the trailer more when I didn't actually watch it and only listen to it, which makes me wonder if that's not how it's designed. A lot of streaming is intentionally designed to be second screen. That's what they're pushing for more and more these days, and I'm thinking that the revival is no exception. That would actually explain why the animation isn't high on their priority list. One little nitpick, and I admit it's a nitpick, when Hank makes a joke about being a Nepo baby, Hank Hill would never use the phrase Nepo baby.
Peggy, I didn't retire to sleep my life away like some Nepo baby.
Overall, I think the trailer does a good job of keeping the people who are already excited, and it quells a lot of the issues people had with previously released material. Maybe they did make a change to Hank's voice. If so, it's awesome that they're listening to feedback. I will say I'm more hopeful than I was before watching the trailer, and to anyone on the fence about watching the revival, I'd say check it out. You've got nothing to lose. It might be bad, it might be amazing, it might be a combination of the two, but you'll never know for sure if you don't give it a chance. So, fingers crossed, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next time.
Blue moon up, Kentucky, keep on shining. We'll shine on the one that's gonna prove untrue. Blue moon up, Kentucky, keep on shining. We'll shine on the one that's gonna left me blue.